What is up, guys? In today's video we got a random balance patch in Fortnite about midway through the day, which changed a lot of items in the game that a lot of players kind of would have agreed needed some changing. As always, if you guys do find this video helpful, informative, interesting, remember to give it a like, subscribe if you'd like to see more, and comment down below what you think of these changes and if this changes like how you're going to play the game at all. So in short, the mythic MK7 got a nerf, the sticky launcher got nerfed, the boom bow got buffed, Zyg and Choppys Ray gun got buffed, Gunnar's Stinger SMG got buffed, the Havoc Suppressed AR got buffed, and then the spawn rate of Slurp juice was nerfed. So in short, those are the changes. We're going to get more into it in depth now. So the mythic MK7 got its fire rate reduced slightly. It went from 10 to 9.5, and then the damage was lowered from 23 to 22. So you lost about half of a fire rate total and 1 damage point. Not the biggest nerf in the world. The Foundation's mythic MK7 was, you know, one of the most feared weapons in Season 4, I think. And so it getting a nerf isn't too surprising to me. Does this ruin the weapon? No. I think the nerf is definitely noticeable. The gameplay here will be with it in the background of the video. You'll notice this nerf for sure, but I don't think it ruined the weapon by any means. But I don't know if I want to keep using it, because I was already kind of on the fence between the Twin Mag AR and the MK. I really like the Twin Mag AR. I think it's really good. And I definitely preferred it over the MK at really long range. And now with the nerfs, the MK got a little bit worse, so maybe I will just start using the Twin Mag AR all the time. Not totally sure, but if you're someone who loved the mythic MK7, I think you're still going to like it. This didn't ruin the weapon. Like, it wasn't a ridiculous change. It's just a little more balanced. The sticky launcher got nerfed really hard. It got its fire rate reduced from 0.84 to 0.72. Its reload time was increased by about half a second, and there is now a second and like a 1.25 second delay when swapping from one sticky launcher to another, meaning you can't just double them. Like they did this in the past with double pump. If you swap from one shotgun to another, you get that delay. That's essentially what they did with the sticky nade launcher if you swap from sticky nade launcher to sticky nade launcher. So you can't double up on them to get around that fire rate nerf. I think this is a good change. I thought the sticky nade launcher was really annoying in build mode, and just kind of brings it down a bit. It'll probably still be pretty annoying, but at least you won't have to encounter people doubling it, and there will be a little bit longer of a reload time for the person using it. And that's nice, and it will shoot a little bit slower. So I think overall this is a good change. The sticky nade launcher is a very annoying item. It's not as busted in build mode, or it's not as busted in zero build, but in build mode it was such an annoying weapon to deal with, especially if you're in a situation where you're like fighting somebody, getting spammed by this, and then also getting third party sprayed. You were definitely going to get like rockets through your builds at that point. So I'm happy to see them nerf the sticky grenade launcher. The boom bow got a lot of buffs. It got its reload time decreased from 1.3 seconds to 1 second. And this is just the time it takes for you to like chamber another arrow after shooting it. The time it takes to full pull the arrow, to where you'll get max, like the maximum like trajectory, and also the explosive effect, was cut in half. And then the recharge time was lowered to 15 seconds. So pretty much in every way aside from damage, the boom bow was buffed. It's going to feel a lot better to use and a lot more convenient to use after these changes. Which I think was its problem. Its damage was already fine, and its ability to get splash damage was nice. It was just a very clunky and inconvenient weapon to use. So these changes addressed that, and I think it'll definitely feel better to use. But at this time, I don't really see myself using it, because with the ice wall in the game in zero build, I've just been running shotgun, AR, heals, shocks, and then the ice wall. And with these buffs, like the boom bow definitely got better in my opinion. I really just still don't see myself using it, because I don't know what I would want to drop of those items for this. I could definitely see this being something in team game modes that someone will carry, or there's more of a reason to carry it. It definitely can be good with these changes, but I just don't really see myself using it much. And that's kind of how I feel about the next change, and that is going to be that the Zyg and Choppys Ray gun got a damage increase from 15 to 16, and its charge time was reduced from about half a second to 0.2 seconds. And that's that time it takes for the gun to like start shooting once you hit the shoot button. You know, the ray gun has that weird delay. This was, you know, one of the worst mythics in the game. People memed this a lot, so I think buffing it was good. It's going to feel a lot better to use because of that lower delay. But again, like the boom bow, I don't really see myself using it because it just doesn't fit into like how I currently want to play the game. I'm not going to drop my shotgun for this, and I'm not going to replace my twin mag AR for this. So in the current meta, I just don't see myself using this. If you are someone who's still been using 3 guns, maybe you would want to try this over an SMG, but I think I would still rather have one of the SMGs over this, especially when you consider, you know, you're choosing this over another mythic. So if it's between this and the mythic MK7 or the shockwave launcher or the next weapon we're going to talk about, I don't really see myself taking the ray gun. And the next weapon is going to be the Stinger SMG. It got its vertical recoil decreased in this patch, and its damage increased by 1. Not necessarily a game changer, but you know, it did get improved with this update. It should be easier to use and do 1 more damage. So it should have better stats than the combat SMG now. So if you are using SMGs and you come across this, you know, maybe you consider taking it over the combat more so than you did before. I feel like prior to this patch, the Stinger SMG and the combat were like neck and neck anyways. This got a small buff, like sure, maybe take it over the combat. But, you know, with how SMGs are, it's probably not going to like make or break your game, the Stinger SMG getting a little bit better. The next weapon we're going to talk about is probably going to be the most deserving weapon of a buff in all of Fortnite. The Havoc Suppressed AR has been in the game, I think, since Chapter 4 Season 2, and pretty much ignored the entire time. And it got buffed in this update. It got its damage increased by 1. So each rarity got shifted up 1. Like the green one now feels like how the blue one felt before in terms of damage. Blue one feels like the purple, and so on and so forth. And then the mythic has 1 extra damage. And then the fire rate was increased from 6 to 6.5. Not a huge fire rate increase, but it definitely felt better to use. And I feel like the Havoc AR has always just been not the worst weapon in the world, but not the greatest weapon in the world. And we've had some really good ARs in Chapter 4. We've had the Red Eye, the MK Alpha, now the Twin Mag AR. So it's just always had like steep competition. And with it being a third-person AR, it's not, you know, likely that you're going to want to use this at long range over one of those first-person ARs I mentioned. And so with like, since Fortnite has had a third-person and first-person ARs in the game starting in Chapter 3, the way I've kind of looked at it is that the first person ones are obviously going to be better for like medium to long range fights, and that the third person ones really get their value from versatility, like being able to fill multiple roles and be like a jack of all trades weapon. And the Hammer AR last chapter did this incredibly well. For a lot of Chapter 3, people were just running, Chapter 3 Season 4, people were just running shotgun Hammer ARs or 2 guns, and it worked fine. It was just, it could do close range, it could do medium range, it could kind of do long range if you like tap fired or bursted well or just had good tracking. The Hammer AR was really good. The Havoc Suppressed has never really been able to kind of compare to that because the pullout time on it is so bad that it makes it not great of a follow-up weapon. And that's kind of still the same problem here. They didn't address the pullout time. So I've been using 2 guns this season since they added the ice wall, and so I should be open to trying this weapon. You know, it fits into that well, and I think it would be a better spray weapon than the Twin Mag AR if it had a decent pullout time. But its pullout time is so bad that I would rather just have the Twin Mag AR, get a few shots out a little bit faster, and then get back to my shotgun if I am going to be using the Sharp Tooth. And if I'm going to be using the Exotic Maven, then I don't really need this. I would much rather just have the AR that's actually good at being an AR. So I feel like this weapon has just been like doomed to fail ever since the start because its pullout time is so bad, and that's something that's very important if you're going for like a jack of all trades AR. And it's hard for this to compare to any of the first person ARs as like a main like long range option. So good buff. It definitely was deserving of one, but this doesn't really change how I feel about the weapon. If you didn't like the Havoc Suppressed AR before, I don't think you're going to like it now. And if you loved it before, you're going to like it even more, but there's not very many people out there that love the Havoc AR. The final change we're going to talk about is going to be the most impactful one in this update, I think, and that is that there was a nerf to Slurp Juice spawn rate. So basically every source of Slurp Juice now spawns half of what it did before. So this is going to be the radio towers, the combat cache, and loot island. All of these were affected. In solos before, if you killed the boss at the radio tower, you would get 2 slurps. If you captured a cache, you'd get 2. If you captured island, you'd get 2. You now get 1 from each of those activities. And this kind of carries over to other modes. So in duos, you would get 4. You'll now get 2. In trios, you'll get 6, I think. Or maybe you got 8 in trios. I don't even know. But let's just say in trios, you would get 6, like 2 for each person. You'll now get 3, 1 for each person. And then squads, it used to be 8. Now it'll be 4, 1 for each person, basically, is how slurps go. Each source of slurps gives you 1 for each person in the party size that you're playing. So this kind of changes the game a decent amount. I think slurps are still the best healing item in the game. They didn't change that. They just made it to where if you want to use slurps, you're going to have to try to get it from multiple sources over the course of the game. And I actually really like this change. I think slurps have been very overpowered ever since they were added to the game. It's kind of crazy as far as like a healing item goes. And the fact that you could just get your cash and then have the best healing item in the game without potentially having to fight for it, I think was kind of crazy. So now if you want to have a full inventory or a full stack of slurps, you could still carry 2 in a stack, but you just have to get it from 2 sources. You know, if you're playing duos, maybe you just take the slurps and you have 2, and then your teammate takes another healing item and they don't have slurps. Or if you each want to get 2 slurps to carry, you're going to have to go, you know, radio tower into combat cache, or radio tower into island, or combat cache into island. You're going to have to do more to get a full stack of slurps than you did before. And I think that's a good change. The slurps are still very good, but you just have to work harder, do more to actually get them as an item. So, you know, if you still want to carry slurps, I would just, you know, go radio tower and combat cache, or go combat cache and island. You just need to get a second source of it. You're not just going to be able to hit up your cache and then, you know, have your slurps for the game. But that is going to be it for this video and this update. Let me know what you guys think of this down in the comments below. As always, if you guys enjoyed this, give it a like, subscribe if you like to see more, and I will see you guys in the next one. Thanks for watching.